Hello, IML students. Today you are going to learn about what a trend is. Before we get started, here's a little bit about myself. My name is Adeze Duncan, representing iMarkets Live. Some of you may know me from Forex 101 on IML TV. Also, I was an educator for 10 years, and now I'm here educating you on the facts and methods of Forex. In order to get started on this journey, you need to remember one thing and one thing only. I am a student, always. This is very important for you to remember and to remind yourself of often. You will hear me use this phrase frequently as a reminder that you are a student that is learning a skill that will pay you for the rest of your life. Make sure that you take your time and learn what you need to learn. Pace yourself. Do not compare yourself to anyone else's progress. Always keep a winning mind frame, and you will do very well in this industry. Here is some important vocabulary that you may want to pause the video in order to write down. When you are finished, go ahead and resume. Upon finishing this video, you should have a very good understanding of the following questions. Read through them quietly to yourself. As you are taking notes, make sure to pause this video in order to answer these questions. So first, let's review what is a buy and what is a sell. Remember, a buy is when price value rises. So you want to be getting in at the lowest price. You want to buy low and sell high. See, and then sells are when price value should be getting ready to fall. So you see here in the picture, I have examples of where would be the good place to get in, at the bottom for the buy and at the top for the sell. And as long as you stick with your education, you'll eventually start to feel more comfortable guesstimating where those locations are. The first type of trend I want to talk about is an uptrend. First of all, how do you even know when the market is trending? When the market is trending, it's going up or down. There is also a sideways motion that's not necessarily called trending. It's called consolidation, which I'll talk about later. So what makes up an uptrend? An uptrend has higher highs and higher lows. So if you look in this picture, you can see that one high was higher than the last high, which was higher than the last high, and you get it. And then one low is higher than the last low, which is higher than the last low. So how would you want to trade on an uptrend? You would want to look for long-term buys and short-term sells. What do I mean when I say long-term buys? That means obviously this trend is overall going upward. So your best bet is to get into good buying positions. That means it's going up for the long run, but occasionally there are downward retracements where the market goes down. That's what the retracement is. Or the market goes the opposite direction for a short period of time. That is a retracement. It's one thing to see a really pretty picture. It's another to actually see it in action in the market. So here's an illustration of what a good uptrend would look like. Constantly making higher highs and higher lows. Now the next one is the downtrend. The downtrend is just like the uptrend except it's going down. It's making lower highs and lower lows. So you can see one high is lower than the last high, which is lower than the last high. You get the idea. So what you want to be looking for is long-term sells and short-term buys. Why? Because the retracement, and remember what I said, the retracement is when the trend goes the opposite direction of the overall for a short period of time. So obviously this thing is overall going down. When the market goes up, that would be considered a retracement, and you're making lower lows and lower highs. So short-term buys, meaning it's only going to go up for a short period of time, but overall it's going down. So you want to be looking for longer-term sells. It's very important to understand what type of trends you have. Is the market actually trending? That's going to be in your best bet. We'll talk about it shortly. Again, here's what it looks like, not in a pretty picture, but actually in the market. These are very simple to spot, and it's best to look for a trend on the higher time frames. I'll say that again. It is best to find the trends on a higher time frame. That way you have a good idea of what you're looking at, because it can look like one thing up close on a small time frame like the hour, but when it can look like it's going up on the hour, but if you go and look on the day chart, you'll see that this is actually a big downtrend, and it will help you know, are you in the long-term sell or are you in the short-term buy? You need to know where you're positioned at. Next, you have what is called a ranging market. This is not trending. So you see how the market is moving sideways? It's just going up and down, but it's not really going upward in any kind of direction with any kind of momentum, or downward with any kind of direction and any kind of momentum. There are other words for this. The market is moving sideways. It's called consolidation. It's also known as indecision. Make sure you pay attention to those three things I just said, because you'll hear these terms used and eventually you yourself will start speaking those terms. There is no actual higher highs, no lower lows being made. This is the worst market to try to trade off of. Unless if you're using the higher time frame, then obviously you can get some major pips. But if you're using a smaller time frame, like the 4 hour and below, it is not advisable to trade ranging markets unless you decide to specify and specialize in ranging markets. I would say not a good idea to trade during consolidation. You'll just be on an emotional roller coaster. You'll look at your phone and see that you're in profit, and then you'll come back and see that you're negative, and then you'll come back and see that you're in profit, and you'll just feel some kind of way. So best to stay out of consolidation. So what is consolidation? If you want my definition, what I have is, it's that nasty, disgusting crap that does nothing but hurts your feelings and confuses you, also taking your money. That's what I call it. Why? Just out of experience. Another name for it is indecision. Like, the major players of the market haven't made a decision in which direction that they want to take the market. So as a result, it's at a standstill. Some people are placing buys, some are placing sells. As a result, they cancel each other out, and you have the sideways movement. So here's a good example of what consolidation looks like in the market. There's a nice major area of ranging or consolidation or indecision, all of those different names. Here's another picture. You see some on major scales, and then here's some on the smaller scale. This is the hour chart. You can tell in the background because it says 60 seconds, or it says 60, which stands for 60 minutes, not seconds, sorry. These consolidation patterns can tell you a lot of different things. The stronger and longer the consolidation, typically the more powerful the movement in either direction. Your job is to get on the right side of the direction. As I stated earlier, I'll state it again. It is best to get out of these areas. If you are trading and you decide to enter into this area, be prepared to lose a lot of money. Be prepared to think that you were in a buy and now it looks like it's a sell, and then you decide to try to sell and then it turns out to be a buy, and then you're just losing money all along the way. It is best to stay out of choppy markets. Stay out of the market. You may have heard the statement, the trend is your friend. And there is a reason for that. Here's an example. For instance, do you see this downtrend? You see the higher highs, all those different higher highs? If you would have got in at any given time, let's say you got in at the very top, if the market went up, if it retraced up like it did, remember it's making lower highs. Notice how it's making lower highs? Let's say you got in where that arrow is pointing. As the market made its move downward and then retraced up, you're not out any money. Why? Because it's not going to outdo it because it's on a downtrend. So anywhere you get in on those retracement areas, also known as pullbacks, would be a good area for you to get in. That's why trending markets are the best markets to trade, because it cuts your risk level. It cuts your risk of getting stopped out down. By now, you should have a good understanding of the following questions. Read them quietly to yourself, and when you are finished, go on to the next video in this series.